This is why wrestling sucks.
You a dumb, me tell you.
You a moron. I's right.
Just shut the funk up, baby, and let's have some fun.
Bienvenidos a Diosas y Cosas Hermosas, reparto, el luchador grasa Lucas Walker. Además, el hombre peludo de Folk, Funkmaster de las mujeres tienen relaciones sexuales, debido a la realización que viene de estos cerebros.
Okay, you know how I love your intro. But you know the whole Spanish thing. I don't know how you found that girl that says our names and everything. I don't know if you're just a magician or if you hired some day laborers. Oh, hey, this is Big Luke. That's Funkmaster.
Yes.
that's Funkmaster V. I'm gonna add to that intro a little bit, and hold on, let me get my voice worked up. All right, here we go. Bienvenidos, mi amo Lucero. Tengo seguro dime coche. Oh, whoa, fácil que era 2 pulgadas de mis bolas. All right, you dig that?
It kind of turned me on, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, said I did. I've listened to Mexican radio. I know what I'm talking about.
I've been on Mexican radio.
Of course, that meant, hi, my name is Luke, and I have insurance on my car, and whoa, easy, that was 2 inches from my Babalones.
That's a perfect intro.
Yeah, hey, well.
Every time you walk into a room, somebody needs to say
that. Well, I mean, it would be me saying it, so,
I don't think anybody has said I've got insurance on my car in Spanish in this country ever. But that's
why it's a new phrase. We're breaking ground here.
Okay. Well, I'm completely wiped out, so I'll probably take a nap from about 15 minutes to 45 of this show. So it's going to be mainly you and me snoring in the background.
Well, hey, Memorial Day weekend in Sevier County. I mean, everybody's just killed themselves.
Well, so. This was the first major weekend that we had Funkmaster V's Uptown Cabs in Sevier County, and me and my wife were over here. We just got done watching Game of Thrones, and you know how big a fan we are of that, and we didn't even stay up to watch it.
I watched it at 1 a.m. with my feet in Epsom salts, and this peripheral neuropathy. It sounds like Epsom salts, and I stepped in pissed clams.
Oh, my shoes fell off. Anyway.
No, that sounds like a social disorder, but it's just from so much damage to my feet over the years. Yesterday I'm walking around. I don't really talk about where I work much, but I'm a safety trainer for a major corporation restaurant, and man, yesterday I'm working 14 hours and I was walking around on a cane because I had worked 33 hours and over the course of 50 hours. It was terrible.
You weren't limping, baby. You were pimping.
I wasn't limping. I was pimping. And people say, why are you a safety trainer instead of a cop? And I was like, because I get paid more. Good God, cops don't make shit. And, it's truth all around. I work for Gatlinburg, which is one of the highest paid police departments in America. I went 7 years. The whole city went 7 years, or not in America, in Tennessee. I went 7 years without a pay raise. I had guys that started. It was like I went 2 years, got raises, and then 7 years without raises. And I had guys that just started making as much money as me after I was there for 8 or 9 years.
That's bullcrap.
Yeah.
So they got 2 hot dogs, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they got 2 hot dogs and 3 handshakes. It was beautiful.
Okay. Well, today we are, I guess we are together because of this little guy from California that has created kind of a stir, and this shoot, quote unquote, video.
Wait, let's talk about the word shoot for a minute here. I mean, I'm old school, you know that. And
Sure.
And all these new phrases in wrestling, everybody's got we're going to do a shoot interview. I got a shoot job. I've got in my shoot life, I shot at him in the ring and all that. Man, okay, you got a job. If you're wrestling, you're working. And if you're shooting on somebody in the ring, you're either chopping them or throwing spuds, potatoes, whichever you prefer. I shot at them. Hey, well, fuck it. You got a gun?
They call them taters down here.
Taters.
Yeah.
And if you do them real quick, they're mashed taters. But me, I always preferred the tater salad. No, but yeah, it's just those things that have changed over. Like now, if I said back in the day, we jabron was a big word. Everybody, hey jabron, you jabron, look at this jabron, check out this jabron. Now you can't say it over. Oh, why you marking the rock?
Yeah.
I was like, motherfucker, where do you think he got jabroni from? He just put the E at the end of it and made it a sensation. It's a national sensation.
Well, I don't know. And again, like I said, I'm so wiped out. I don't know if I'll make sense. This may be the worst episode ever, or it may be the best. I don't know. But the my whole thing with pro wrestling is I love it, and I've tried to quit about 99 times. It's like I'm in love with an evil woman that's a prostitute, and I just can't, or a stripper or something, and I just can't quit her. That's how I feel about wrestling. I just love it. I can't let it go. But there's
Thank God I'm married. I have to date a stripper again. Let me tell you a quick stripper story, just so I could keep us off schedule.
Beautiful.
I was dating this stripper, and we went bowling because that's what guys that date strippers do. And she says, "Hey, you want me to go get you a beer?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." Later that night, we're going to sleep, and she goes, "You still owe me $275 for that beer." I fucking shoot. And it remind me one of these times. I'll tell you the worst thing I've ever said to a woman is I said to that girl. I'll tell it right now, just because hey, let's tickle some asses with feathers on the Eli McFly story. So I'm breaking up with this girl, and I knew I was breaking up with her, and she didn't know because I was her meal ticket. But I was working in Illinois at a street department, making good money. I mean, I was making $20 an hour.
Woo!
Well, I mean, back then that was for
stepping in hot cotton.
That's pretty good money for a fucking white trash kid from Bolingbrook, Illinois, or
Yes.
Downers Grove, or Westmont, or Chicago, or Justice, wherever the hell I'm from.
Cicero.
But she says to me, and she was a stripper, right? And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Where's your paycheck?" I was like, "It's right here." She's like, "You only made $1,700? I made that in one weekend." I was like, "Yeah, but I got to keep my dignity." And then we broke up, and that man was the devil.
By the way, I'm surprised at the lack of heat on our last podcast, but I'm glad because these are just stories, and we're just having fun, and other people have gotten upset over. I'm still hearing about how angry Violet Adams is about the story that we said. I think it was even on Christian's podcast. It wasn't even our own, about calling her a truck stop bulldyke. And for anybody listening, and I hope this
No,
gets
you
to,
did not call her a truck stop bulldog. All you said was something about her looking like a man.
yeah.
You just took it way
Well,
worse.
and I also, the story was from the vantage point of a child. But first, I'd like to say, if you take yourself too seriously in this sport, your feelings are going to be hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And for anybody who, and this, I love women. I'm a huge fan of females, and I think it's unfair what they have to go through because there is a double standard. A guy could just show up looking like crap, and everybody will respect him. A woman has to spend, it seems like, and this is wrong, I think, like 30 minutes trying to make themselves look halfway decent for them just to kind of show up and do the same thing a man does.
And then if they have a little bit of a muffin top, they're done.
Yeah, and there's so many fat wrestlers and stuff. So I mean, there is a huge double standard. But the whole point of that story, not only because it was funny, but the whole point of the story too is, and I thought about this weekend because I saw a lot of people who were friends of Angela and stuff. And again, I wasn't talking about Angela. I was talking about Violet Adams, the character. When you come out of a curtain and you look like her, there's only 4 things the audience can think. Number 1,
I want an abortion. Oh.
Number 1, she's some sort of truck stop bulldyke. I mean, she's got no makeup, no gimmick. She doesn't even have to look feminine. I'm not saying she has to try to make herself look anything, but she's got the straight hair, not done up any type of way. She's wearing a black T-shirt with cutout sleeves and some sort of pleather pant thing. So she either looks like that, and I'm saying this is what the audience thinks. I'm not saying this is what I think, because I think I've actually defended these people to millions, seemingly millions of people that all constantly are putting these people down. But number 1, you're either truck stop bulldyke like a gay woman character gimmick. Two, you're like a he woman, like I'm tougher than all the boys kind of thing. Number three, you don't give a shit, and you just think people are going to love you just because you have a charming personality. Or four, you're poor as hell. That's the only four things coming out of that curtain when you dress like that people can think. And
Well, and again, I have seen so many justifications for bad gear, guys and girls, and bad looks and guys and girls, that I know what people will say to every single one of those. But the fact of the matter is, and the big one they're going to say is, well, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, fuck, this is wrestling. That's exactly what you do.
that's exactly. And I've told people, and I tell kids this when we do the training stuff, you are a slave to how the audience perceives you.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot get over if you're really funny. In fact, this is one of your little problems is you're really funny, but you're also a giant. People don't want to see you be funny. They want to see you kill. And when you get over is when you're mad. That night that you got pissed off at Cody Reigns. I mean, everybody the whole air got sucked out of the place because it was like, whoa, we woke the sleeping giant.
In front of 400 people, mind you.
Yes, and
Which of course doesn't matter because it was a show in front of middle schoolers. Because when you wrestle when you wrestled at what apparently they call paid shows, where people pay to show up and sit in the butts and seats and enjoy your product is apparently a bad thing to do.
I don't understand the heat that ETCW has with that, but all I know is I get paid well. There's tons of people who actually, if me and you, Luke, were hockey players and we played for the Gatlinburg,
Goats.
yeah, we're on the Goats on the Roof. We're the Goats on the Roof team. The Ice Goats on the Ice Roof. That's the name of our hockey team. But if we played in front of 2,000 people, I don't think the heat would be, are those really wrestling fans? I don't, are those really hockey fans? I don't think you care. And that's the whole gimmick is because there's not a lot of hockey fans in Knoxville, but people go to the Ice Bears to have a good time. That's what wrestling needs to become again, is a viable option for entertainment. And so when you come out with these cut off sleeves and you're a gear maker and you don't do anything with your hair, and I said before, and again, this is my opinion and who gives a shit. And if I'm offending anybody, I don't mean to. I'm just trying to help. And the story before was funny. And if you can't take a rib, you need to get out of the damn business. Because if you listen to that podcast, I put down Demetria, Jason Max, Rip, you, me. I was taking shots at everybody.
All great people and good friends.
And good wrestlers. And I've never said anybody, I've never said her or her husband or anybody were bad wrestlers. I think they actually know what they're doing, but they can't get booked because their attitude sucks.
Well, and if you're a marginally good-looking girl or even not a good-looking girl and you come out looking like, and you at least have gear, not a bathing suit. I'm going to talk female for now. And you come out having a bathing suit and you can go, I mean, your stock goes up.
Yeah.
Said nobody, that's, a lot of times gear can be overshadowed by the fact that you can just straight up go. Now, this Eli McFly video that I watched, I actually just posted on the whole video of it, and I hated it. Okay, people. I know a lot of people that know the other guy in it, B-Boy or I think it's B-Boy. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, but you threw in the beginning, in the beginning of the match, you threw a flapjack stunner, you threw a spike DDT the kid didn't sell, these are things that I would have shot on this kid.
Well, the whole reason we're doing this is there's a kid out of Hollywood who looks like he's the size of my 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah, apparently he's 5'4" and 130 pounds.
I mean, and he gets on there and he says some sort of, you talk about jabron. I mean, it's just a meat-headed statement about people who are over 29 need to get out of the sport or something. What did he say on Facebook?
Yeah, I think it was, if his defense is he was talking about you can't be the future because you're the present, which I guess I understand. Maybe he worded it wrong, but then he went on to defend it wrong. What he said was,
that's a stupid statement anyway.
If you're over the age of 29, you're not the future. You can't call yourself the future of wrestling. Which, how old is Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens? Just wondering.
65. But anyway,
I think they're both in their mid-30s, and they're breaking into WWE now, and they're gonna be great.
Who cares about WWE? Do you want to real quick go over our what we thought about the WWE this week?
Yeah, but then I got to actually have something to talk about. But yeah, go ahead. World of WWE,
All right,
the match intro by Big Luke and Funkmaster B.
Jesus, it's beautiful.
John Cena, Undertaker, Repo Man, Tatanka, Tino Santana, Bob Backlund, the Iron Sheik, the other guy, those guys.
In the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, Funkmaster V and Big Luke share their thoughts on the world of World Wrestling Entertainment.
All right, here we are. I'm Big Luke. That's Funkmaster V. Funkmaster V, did you watch Raw this week?
No, man, I don't watch that.
This concludes the world of World Wrestling Entertainment.
So that's why I'm not gonna crap on this Eli McFly guy because he's so small. But anyway, going back to what the whole thing about him is so he says this kind of stupid thing, and so my whole point, I was trying to say this earlier, and we go down so many rabbit trails, is wrestling has such great opportunity now. If people were smart on marketing this sport, Facebook and Twitter and all this other stuff is just, and being able to be on YouTube is just what a brilliant and great way to market yourself.
Yeah.
And what a way to get your group over. People can watch your shit. They could be in Japan. They can be on the moon if unless they unless they have Comcast, then they'll have some problem. But anyway, they could be anywhere in the world and watch your stuff on YouTube or anything else. And this stuff this kid said could be turned into a moneymaker.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
'Cause how many views did you have of the guy doing the military press slam? Well, I guess I don't know. We're talking like everybody knows what we're talking about. So
Well, you could probably play the video because the one of the guys that was in the match, the bigger guy that was on the outside, I think actually, here let me go in and a little bit, and then I'll get back to that. How I got involved in this is somebody I know shared the 10-second clip on a private group that we're in, and I couldn't share it out of the group. So what I did was I ripped it and then put it on my Facebook page. Within, 24 hours, it got up to 200 shares and 20,000 views. To the point where I had to verify who I was. And this is funny because Plinko got banned off of Facebook too for the initial argument with the McFly, Johnny Butabi out of Hood Slam, one of my favorite wrestlers going. He got banned and had to verify who he was through Facebook because apparently somebody, maybe it's said that this McFly kid was in it. It reported him, and I got within 24 hours of that video being posted, I got like 200 friend requests, and I also got reported because some people were thinking that I was, I looked at a bunch of the shares and people were thinking I was the B-boy guy.
you were the guy throwing the kid over the road.
Yeah.
Well, so this kid runs his mouth about vets. People go one way or the other, and then there's a match that some jabroni filmed, and you could tell this guy with his comments. He watches everything wrestling. Like he was referencing. I don't know, Chikara, and he was doing things like they do on the East Coast. I mean, this guy's just like a super.
Yeah. Either the guy that recorded it, or I think it's the big guy that was outside, that was involved in the match. You'll watch it. We can play. Yeah, okay. I think so. We can play this match behind the video if you want to play the match behind us.
Yeah, and
you'll see. It said, I do not like that finishing moves are just like thrown to the side. But he messaged me and said, hey, I saw you got a lot of heat off of that video, off the 10-second clip. Would you mind sharing or putting, the link to the full match? And so, I think, well, hey, you want me to put the link to the full match? Here it is, playing right behind us. So I think, that pretty much gives me permission, even though you don't need it, because people don't realize that.
Right. You can freely. So what happened was this kid mouthed off, and he went on a couple podcasts, and he defended what he said, like you said.
Which, if it's a work, it's a great work, and I'm positive the match was a work.
Well, that's right. So, and then you show this thing of him being military press slammed out of the ring onto the concrete, which sucks. But first of all, that's not a very tall ring. That looks
Yeah, it
like
was like 2
that,
feet off the ground.
that looks like a training ring. I still would not want to take that bump. I'm not going to try to say that kid didn't. And then there's a spot where there's a power bomb on a stage, which is a lot more. That would be easier to take than being slammed all the way to the ground.
Yeah, and
On
then
the
there were some really nice stiff chops in there, which could have been the actual message. And and if this Eli McFly kid, I mean, I'm not putting him over, but if he, I'm taking a pee though. If he,
we just lost all our class points, man.
man, I drink a lot of coffee. But if he,
And I
if he
appreciate you. I
uses,
appreciate
'cause
you.
he's,
I appreciate you peeing on the side of the toilet, so it
if,
wouldn't sound so bad after you knew that you just offended me. And
oh no, I was peeing in the sink again. No, I wasn't. I'm kidding. No, but if this Eli McFly kid is using this as a work, and what I think happened was these guys, like this B-boy, for what everybody I hear, Vito Tomaselli and all these other people are like, hey, this guy's a pro. He's a super nice guy. And if he's a super nice guy and a pro, I could see I'm a super nice guy and a pro. Hey, I would have said, hey, kid, you got a bunch of heat on you. Let's squash it right now. I'm going to be a little stiff with you in this match. Take some big moves, and we'll try to unbury you.
Right. So everybody reacted to this 10-second clip of this. It's almost like the mankind thing falling off the Hell in a Cell onto the table. I mean, it's a pretty remarkable thing to watch.
Yeah.
But the rest of this, the rest of this match is definitely not any type of shoot. And after this, me and you, we're not Southerners, but we're down south now. I will show you what an old school shoot looks like if I can find the video. And an old school shoot is hard to watch. And I'm conflicted about this. My whole thing is if somebody should not be in the sport, or somebody's disrespecting the sport, they shouldn't be booked.
Yeah.
Or you should just beat the shit out of them in a street fight. I don't like sometimes.
And in the street fight, you mean in the street, not in a ring.
Right. I don't think, because if you watch this video of this alleged shoot, okay, it's really cool maybe for us wrestlers to see this and go, oh boy, this guy's getting his butt kicked, and he'll never disrespect veterans again, which I don't think that's really what's going on. I think it's exactly this guy taking the heat off this kid, and that happens a lot of times. And they can turn this into ticket sales. But you can look, there's only about 50 people here at this show.
Well, I think they already blew the cheats of turning it to ticket sales because the B-boy guy came out and said, hey, it was a work.
Yeah, and it's obvious that it is. But because the shoot, and we'll show you what a shoot looks like. And after this video gets done, but and like you said, I think the kid did take some big moves and stuff, but and props to him for getting back up. But all of that to say is they should be able to turn that into money. But if you look at the crowd is just confused. They're not. I don't think many of them are enjoying it. This guy keeps trying to instill these. This is awesome and match of the night chants, and you hear about 3 people joining in, and everybody else is just like, "What the hell is happening?"
If you want to use this as the sub name for the show, I will say in the countless times I've seen this, Spuds equal duds. Mm-hmm. When you try to shoot, I mean, I saw that shoot fight on the flea market. That's one I've seen before. That poor Jason Kincaid's like a rookie on the outside, and he looks so hilarious wearing his big he's wearing like Carhartt puffed out coveralls, but that match was a match, and then all of a sudden it was the crowd just standing there going, "What the fuck is this bullshit?"
What are you talking? Are you talking about the Robbie Reyes thing?
No, it was on the flea market last week. It was like Skeet versus and I could talk. Remind me to talk a little bit later about. I got in with Trash Bag Wrestlers because he's now sharing our podcast, and I learned some inner workings that I can talk about. But
with the Trash Bag Wrestler guy,
yeah,
I thought it was me.
It is, and you and James Simonelli,
and my buddy Brian Shepard, who Tim Webb, who James and Tim couldn't graduate. They both quit the TXW wrestling school. But anyway,
talking to the guy as much as I have over the last 2 weeks, the guy's a solid guy. But I'll talk to you.
Shit.
Yeah, I'll talk to you more about it later. But
you're holding out on me.
No, I gotta say, relaying this stuff back to, I had another thought. I lost it. That's how we do it. But talking about how I've always handled stuff in the ring, and how you've, I mean, because I mean,
Oh, you were talking
you,
about the trash bag situation, though, or world famous flea market. There was a shoot, and you said Spuds equal duds or
oh
whatever.
yeah. Well, I mean, said, and it's said, I've seen a lot of other matches that, either turned into a shoot or, there were some spuds happen, and then the match just, the show falls apart.
It
It's really,
does.
and I've worked out a way because, like, all right, I'm gonna say something right now, that, whatever. I do not say to any single person in the wrestling business or anywhere in my life, because I'm an experienced guy. I've been around the world and a lot of other things other than wrestling. I've done a lot. I've saved lives. I've protected people. I've shot people. I mean, no, I didn't. I've been in, as a police officer, I was in hundreds of fights. As a human being growing up, a white human being growing up where I did, I was in hundreds of fights. Um, I'm not saying that because I am 6'8" and been in 300 pounds and been in the wrestling business since 1994 that you have to listen to what I say. Now,
Good.
should you listen to what I say? Probably, but you don't have to. You don't have to listen to my advice. I'm going to say I'm going to go into how I handle situations that I think a spud is. And like you even took exception to a call a rookie made a couple weeks ago at a show, and you threw a couple of shots at him.
I
You
did.
you paid him a bit.
I did. I did.
But I, over the years, have learned, first of all right, I'm going to get into a couple things here.
This sounds good.
I see all these posts in Facebook and all these people. I'm a tough guy. Look I've got a concussion. I bled so much that I passed out. Okay, you don't know how to work. Sorry. If you get a concussion in the wrestling ring, you don't know how to work. That's I mean, there's times you legitimately can get a concussion on accident. If you get one based off of a move, you did the move wrong.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean there. Yeah.
But also, all right, I've had a few situations here recently, and I'm not going to name names. If you want to think it's you, it probably is. The way I get back at people, like when I was younger in the business, or and still, kind of a little bit a baby vet, I guess, like 5 to 15 years, how I would handle somebody in the ring that either there's shanked a spot or whatever. I would pull them off into the corner, give them the tie clinch, talking to her, and say, "Hey, you're getting some chops here because of this. Take it like a man." And then I throw some chops, which I hate doing, or I throw some stiff elbows to their or forearms to the head, and then afterwards I was like, "All right, you know why I did that?" I mean, there's been also some times where there's a match in ETCW that I was thrown in with a couple rookies and Matt Raby.
Yeah,
That I legitimately, people thought I was having a nervous breakdown because I wanted to kill the other in the ring.
This video should be destroyed. I know, and I think you've actually, didn't you say you submitted this to the world famous flea market or whatever for them to put up, but because it was an awful match. You're probably you're probably the only person ever that put your own match, try to get your own match on the flea market. But
I mean, I tried to explain to the guy that runs it, because I know who he is. I guess it's not a huge secret, but I explained to him, was like, "Look, man, if you want to run me down. I don't mind." But said, "Look, if you look at my reactions in this match, and go ahead and play it if you can find it. It's on the dude's website or a Facebook, or just put it in YouTube, and you'll find it." YouTube. And but it's just like, I legitimately, and the promoter is on the outside of the ring when I get outside of the ring, and he gives me the thumb across the neck.
Yeah.
He's like, "Go ahead, kill him." And I'm like, "No, man, I'll blast him backstage because I'm professional." But it got so bad that me, one of the nicest guys on the planet, somebody that spent 20 years, working out different characters for my own personal life to absorb heat, to not get angry, to not lose my, to not lose my mind. I mean, I'm the fucking Incredible Hulk. I'm Bruce Banner. And to try not to lose my mind, I was legitimately, I mean, you could see me just, my eyes are turning.
Because me and you later that year had that head trauma gimmick, and I thought that was something else you've done before, because you kept shaking your head and punching yourself in the head, and you were like shrugging your shoulders at nobody and talking to yourself. I was like, oh, he's going crazy, but you were actually trying to keep yourself from going crazy.
And give it to Matt Raby, who was pro enough to realize, hey, Luke's about to tag in. I'm going to tag this fool out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
and then,
and that-
I mean, I was stiff as shit on Matt Raby just out of proxy, you know?
And the sad thing about that match too is, that place was absolutely packed, and that was
there was a lot of people.
there were hundreds of people there, and that was some of the worst crap in the world. And that's you got to go back, and you gotta book guys who know what they're doing.
But what I now what I do is something a little different, and it's kind of a matter of, okay, I'm gonna break kayfabe a little bit. Okay, apologize to the other veterans around me. I'm gonna break kayfabe a little bit.
Who's there?
If
is Danny Hodge in your is he at your house there? Anyway, go ahead.
And if I go up to a match and somebody that's been in the business either equal to me or less than me or a lot less than me starts saying, all right, here's what we're gonna do, I will not go, fuck you, this is what we're gonna do. I'll be like, I'll listen, and I'll be like, all right. And then I'm going to make it really hard on you to wrestle. Okay, I'm going to do what I call sandbagging. Now, I've sandbagged twice in the last year. It's because you didn't show me any fucking respect. I like to go out into a match and work a match. I don't like to sit back and go, hey, this is what we're going to do. I like to go out and, hey, give me the beginning, give me the end, we'll fill in from there. Because I'm a trained fucking wrestler. I know how to wrestle. Sorry. And so that's what I will do nowadays is if I'm disrespected or if I'm not, if I'm told this is what we're going to do by somebody that's younger than me or another guy equal to me, one guy said, hey, just follow me and we'll have a good match. And I'm like, fuck you. I've been in this business 20 years at the point. We've been in the business the same amount of time. We've been to the same places. We can work together. Oh, no, you don't want to work together? Okay, I'll work against you. And we still had a decent match. The crowd was none the wiser. The other match, still a decent match. The crowd was none the wiser. But by God, it was hard to lift me up for a body slam. Guarantee it. It was really hard for them to sit around and wait for me to get up and feed a move. I'll tell you that.
Well, speaking of that in a way too, I don't know, because we have to do this post edit stuff. This match with Eli McFly or whatever his name is and B-Dawg drives me crazy, man. I mean, I think, and this is just my critique, and again, just like you, this is why I have a podcast to spew out my own opinions. And I know people listen to this nationwide. Down south, it's a little different, but everywhere else, this crap that we've done to pro wrestling, this sports entertainment style wrestling shit. I know there's some guys that are very athletic and they can do some awesome stuff, but I swear to God, it all looks fake. If you look at this kid when he's got the guy in the triangle, there's space between his ankles and the guy's back and his head. The frickin' guy coming in throwing a clothesline, it looks so fake, man. It just looks awful. I mean, a lot of this stuff. And the other thing about this match that bothers me too is this little tiny guy beat a guy that looks like he's about 240 pounds, and he's in great shape. What the heck? Man, that guy doing, the guy needs to be booked properly. But if I go to a place and I see a guy that's 130 pounds beat a guy that's 240 and he looks like he's in good shape, and he's in gear and everything, I'm like, this is just flaming bullcrap. This got to be the promoter's son or something. This is just ridiculous.
There's a guy around here that's about equal in size. He's bigger than the Eli McFly dude, but his name's Joker, and he was Christian Lotus's tag team partner for a while. And he's a good kid, and he's a decent worker. But what he does is he really is interested in helping people. He is.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And but I had a match with him in the ring that killed Bob O'Mac. And they booked me against him, and no, I mean, there's no offense to Joker. I know he's a great guy and he ain't gonna take offense to it, but the guy's not even half my size.
Absolutely.
And so the only thing I could really do was pick him up and throw him around like that Eli McFly did. I picked him up for, fall away slams, and then I picked him up like a fall away slam, and then I lifted him up and then threw him face first, and he didn't protect his head because he didn't know the match was coming because I was just throwing him around, and legitimately knocked himself out.
You isn't it weird? That Joker has been in at least 3 matches where somebody's been knocked out in the last year.
Well, and said
that
most
other
of them
guy.
aren't his fault. Okay, most of them aren't his fault. The other guy, it was all on the other guy. When I did it, it was me. He was not expecting the move. I mean, because like I said, I was just picking him up and throwing him around. You know, I had him, and he's so light and everything. I mean, I had him in a Boston Crab, and I stood up a little, bit to readjust my balance, and all of a sudden I'm power bombing him just because.
Yeah.
But of course, hey, guess what? That power bomb ended the match.
That's true.
Okay.
That's the thing I can't understand is, and I want all these guys. These guys like this. The guy that was supposedly shooting on Eli McFly. He looks like a good wrestler. I mean, he's got a good look. He's built good. The stuff he did looked pretty good. But this other stuff with all these other people coming in and the fake, just how fake it looked. I hope we take wrestling back, because here's the secret. We and the guy holding the camera doing the dialogue, and he's repeating crap from other like super indie leagues. You know this guy is just a big wrestling. He loves independent wrestling and stuff, and he probably hates the WWE, or he probably subscribes to the thing and he complains about it online. I mean, he's that kind of guy. He's a super fan. I don't know if he's a wrestler or a mark or whatever. He's in training or whatever, but he's the camera guy in that match. But the stuff he says just kind of bothers me. It's just like, God, you're so like a robot of indie wrestling right now. But indie wrestling's not working. What they call super indie or pure wrestling, I've heard it called, but the Dragon Gate ROH stuff, it's not working. That crowd, they wrestle in front of 50 people, and this.
Well, as I said, everybody keeps going on and on about, well, you know, we're great and we're better than you guys were, and blah blah blah. Well, then how come we were drawing 500 in the 90s and you're drawing shit? Yeah. Oh, the business has turned. Yeah, the business has turned because you're exposing it. You're throwing it away. You're fucking, you're doing moves that are supposed to be for finishing moves. You're supposed to build drama, not throw out an action movie. Yeah. Why do you think that people, the Avengers wouldn't have been as big of a movie, the first and the second one wouldn't have been anywhere near as big of a movie as it was if it didn't have a story, if it didn't build drama.
Yeah.
If it was all explosions, it would be Transformers.
Well, and people are like, up north, man, you can't get away with that southern stuff. Well, what do you mean? I mean, you're wrestling in front of 58 people. Who the fuck cares? You want to get over in front of them? How about building the damn base back? And besides, you guys are going to kill you. Everybody, and this is the problem we have here in this area, Luke, and that's why I hope this Severe Attitude Wrestling, they're talking about opening up a training school, and then there's another one in North City that's training kids now. But man, I talked to Wayne. I talked to a couple people the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm probably done." I'm like, "You're not even 30 yet. I can't take it anymore." Well, and I don't want to disrespect them because technically
they could do what we're doing. They could either live with it or change it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. A friend of mine I was with yesterday, who's a wrestler, a couple days ago. He's like, if I don't feel like I'm sore the next day, I feel like I did it wrong. I said, well, if I feel like I'm sore the next day, I feel like I did it wrong. Yeah. And I'm not saying go in there and suck it out and just have a bad match and just do a headlock and a wrist lock and a schoolboy and call it a day. But there are other ways to get people excited about pro wrestling than killing yourself and destroying your body.
Yep.
And that's, to me, how you work. When we worked up in Northeast Tennessee and everybody's like, you guys are too scared to throw a punch. It's like, no, it's called working. I can work a punch.
A punch is an illegal move. Did you realize this?
Yeah, I'm a baby face. I shouldn't be throwing those anyway.
Hulk Hogan blew that by throwing punches as a baby face. I mean, he was like the first one. Before then, when I was in training, Sonny, who I did put up a match of him versus Hulk Hogan, which is fucking hilarious. I love Sonny. He's where I get 90% of my inspiration for my physical tics. And I believe that Hulk Hogan actually stole. When Hulk Hogan hulks up, he does the Sonny Rogers move, with the shaking his hands and shaking his hair and everything. It's fucking hilarious. But Sonny would say, babies don't throw punches.
Yeah, you're not supposed to until there's a time.
All the Shakespeare that guy taught me, I don't think is being I know it's not being taught to a lot of people nowadays because they're not going to a wrestling school. They think they go to a school for a month and then work out before shows that they were trained. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. If that's the way it is, while we're still wrestling, we're getting booked everywhere in front of 50 fucking people. I'm sorry, guys. Your way is not working. And, I mean, you can talk all you want about your credibility, quality versus quantity or whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to go for quality and quantity.
Yeah, and here we go. We go back to wrestling as itself right now does not draw in the United States.
Right.
We put over Hood Slam a lot. They incorporate a lot of different mediums. They make it a gigantic party.
It's not.
Okay,
It's not wrestling. It's a show,
it's a show, and then
and that's a compliment. That's the biggest compliment I can give them.
every promoter has to figure out, okay, you can have tremendous wrestlers because there are tremendous wrestlers in East Tennessee. And there's some guys who are good, and there's some guys who are average, and there's some guys who are weak, and there's some guys who are shit. But you can have a show, nice ring, put a lot of money into it, advertise, get on the radio, whatever you want to do, print media, and you're going to draw, if you're lucky, 100 to 300 people.
Yep.
And if you're lucky, and that's about the best you're going to do. Group the other day had Sabu. They drew 60 people. Wow, that was
It's a loss in money, and I guarantee. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to put it down. Hey, bring in names if you want. If you got the money to lose, bring in
Sure.
names. But I mean, and I've said this statement before. I'm going to augment it like Dumbledore at the end of the last Harry Potter. I'm going to augment my original statement to say names rarely draw money.
You gotta get the right names.
Yeah, 'cause we had a chance with Saw to bring in somebody. I'm not going to say names, and it would have cost, I think, $3,000 to bring this guy in, and it would have drawn. The problem is we'd have done it at a place where we couldn't draw enough people. We couldn't put enough people in the room
No,
to pay for him.
right? It would have been a
You
bad
got it.
decision.
Yeah. And would I have loved to be on the show? Would I have loved to see this guy and the other guy who was going to work wrestle? Hell yes. I would love to see that match. Problem is, there was no way possible it could have made money unless we switched the venues and really got it out there. When Tommy brought in Gold Dust, he struck while the iron was hot and he drew huge, and it was the right name at the right time. I mean, it was right when Gold Dust was going into, everybody knew he was going in the WWE, and everybody wanted to see how he was doing and what he was going to look like. And tell me that that wasn't a great get. That was a beautiful business decision, and he could have probably sold even more tickets if he was in a bigger venue. And I'm not going to knock. I mean, said I'll just use it as an example that not that many people showed up to the Sabu match, but Sabu, if this was 1997, that would have drawn huge. I put on some barn burners back in the 90s with King Kong Bundy in front of 500 people, and guess what?
Right.
We made money.
Yeah.
And because King Kong Bundy in 1998 was a big name. I mean, like I said, I have never paid to wrestle a big name. I've never been in on paying a wrestler to come in, but I've wrestled big names because they've trusted me to wrestle them. I've wrestled two guys that formerly that main evented WrestleManias. How cool is that to say?
Yeah.
I've had better matches. Okay, the match before Mabel, I wrestled Robbie Race, who we've talked about earlier, maybe showing a video of.
Yeah, we can get back on the shoot stuff too, I guess.
Yeah, a far better match than the one with Mabel. Well,
Robbie's awesome.
Oh, and he's a guy you don't want to shoot on.
Yeah.
And
getting back to that, so this whole Eli McFly thing, which we watching this match earlier today, this had to be. Yeah, that was a work. I mean,
if you can't tell it's a work, then you got problems.
I mean, and if they're smart, they're going to turn that into some money. The whole heat around this kid, because it's worldwide. I don't know what 40,000 views or something on the
20.
Right
now, I'm at 20. My video is at 20,000 views.
That's awesome. So, terrific, and they should be able to do something with that. If they're smart. And that's the whole thing I was saying about the other stuff. We got to get smart as these promoters and stuff to figure out how to get wrestling to sell. Hood Slam does it by incorporating burlesque dancers and comedians.
Well,
ATCW draws big because they do school, in the main event, they have some sort of, gym teacher or guidance counselor wrestle the promoter, and
Well,
yeah,
and but
it's not the greatest match in the
yeah,
world, but the
and if
people.
people say that's bad wrestling, and a lot of people down it, do not realize. Okay, maybe I'm looking at on it from the wrong side because I actually wrestle at these shows, and the shows that draw 100 people, they don't book me. Um, let's say this: there's 500 middle school aged kids watching this match. Okay, we are breeding the next generation of wrestling fans. We are doing you a favor, fuckers. Okay? By me and Funkmaster going out there and putting on good matches. And there's other really, I don't know, there's a couple bad wrestlers on the show. I won't name their names, but I will mention the really good wrestlers that are on these shows. You got Dimitri, you got Matt Raby, you got Wayne Atkins, you've got me, you've got Mick O'Malley, you've got you. They are seeing good wrestling. All right. And they are, so two matches, yeah, probably totally suck. I'm sorry, but hey, that's how it goes. But I mean,
This business is not about putting on good matches. I mean,
yeah.
That's what all of our friends who are kind of like, well, this sucks. Give me a break. And I'm like, I understand where they're coming from, but good wrestling does not sell tickets. I don't know how many goddamn times I have to say this and scream it into the microphone. Good wrestling does not sell tickets, guys. If you're a promoter, if you're my friend, good wrestling does not sell tickets. We may like watching it as wrestlers, and we've said this before. I don't know if we said this on a podcast. A musician's band like King's X is great. You're like, how do three guys sound like 40 people? How do they have what it sounds like six-part harmonies with three guys, and a bass and guitar sounds like five instruments, and the drums, and these songs are awesome. Well, guess what? They play in front of about how many people we wrestle in front of, and these are
Well, and
these are rock stars. This is a musician's band, and
let's hold it for a minute.
we may like wrestling, and we may like watching really good wrestlers wrestle, but that doesn't draw, man. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not saying have guys out there that suck or they're untrained. What I'm saying is people care about stories, people care about characters. The reason we're wrestling in front of 500 and 600 people is because some middle school teacher, guidance counselor is wrestling a bad guy, and the kids want to see their. And the other thing is too, can you imagine, Luke, Monday morning, this guy tells you, I don't know if it's a vice principal or whoever they wrestle, you know, you see him in the hall. I mean, if he tells you to go take the gum out of your mouth or whatever, they're going to be like, yes, sir. I mean, it's almost like instilling respect into these elementary school kids.
Well, and I'm an asshole because I'm wrestling this show with 500 people at it and signing 200 autographs on pictures of me and giving them. Okay, so now in that little area, 200 people know who Big Luke is and know that I'm a wrestler. Okay, if I ever for some reason break out of the mold and actually wrestle at another show, maybe those kids will want to come see me. Mick O'Malley has a huge following, but let's talk about Saw for a minute because we haven't done that enough. Saw is great wrestling.
Yes.
Saw is trying to buck the trend of what you just said, that great wrestling doesn't. But if they incorporate some more storyline things, make more of a party. I mean, every show there's 20 to 30 more people at the show. It's a build, but eventually it's going to be a sold out show every time because of great wrestling, and we're trying and incorporating very, very heat getting storylines without having to be extreme tables on fire matches. You never see that at Saw. If you want to see extreme table on fire matches, go somewhere else. You're also not going to see people spudding other wrestlers. You're not going to see potatoes being thrown. You're not going to see lessons being learned. Why? Because we don't book those fucks. Okay, we're not going to book idiots that can't wrestle or talk shit. I mean, I got so mad about people talking shit that I recorded a little video and ended up getting a sponsor off of it for us.
Oh yeah, this is. I remember you telling me you're really sick of these people who are acting. No, he's tough guys. He's want to be tough guys. Let's show that real quick.
All right.
You know what? I'm a little sick of your attitude. You hang out in locker rooms.
You hang around with athletes, and just because you hang around with athletes doesn't make you an athlete. You can't get that attitude. You know, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired. I'm literally sick and tired of you always acting so tough.
Hey, you know the secret behind that? I was naked.
You're still in my gimmick now.
Well, that's what I got. I watched your promo, which is beautiful. Maybe you can start playing that in the background now, or put it at the end. The Black Panther. That's where I got that from. Is because at the end you throw that little MacGuffin out there.
I did it all without any pants on. And hey, and I had some huge fans like that. But anyway,
the face was 2 inches from your Babalones.
Hey, that video camera was
easy.
Easy.
To get onto the trash bag wrestlers thing.
Yes, do that now.
I mean,
Good segue.
so trash bag wrestlers. Okay, I really do want to put them over. They, the guy I've talked to a lot over the last 2 years, and hey, I'm gonna throw it into the wind for you. There has been times where I have been Mr. Trash Bag Wrestler himself for like a weekend. With
What?
if the actual guy, if he has a life, and he will go on vacation, or he'll be busy for a weekend, and he'll go to me and be like, hey, hey Luke, and I said I can't tell you who it is, but he'll be like, hey Luke, can you fill in for the weekend? I mean, and I fucked up a couple months ago where I put I didn't realize, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I took over for the weekend, and there was some heat on there with somebody, and I posted something from my phone as Trash Bag Wrestler, and it said in Pittman Center, Tennessee. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this. So that's how I'm not the full-time guy. I'm just, like I filled in for, like, if you add it all up, I've done it for like 3 weeks. But hey, cool. I'm
Well, you told me that it's been several guys.
Well, it was one guy that started it. He gave it to somebody else, and then he gave it to. And then the second guy gave it to somebody else who lasted for like a week, and because he didn't understand how to work. He was trying to put himself over. So the other guy took it back and did it for he's still the guy.
Oh, I thought it's been marauded around the country with different groups of people.
No, it was just basically I think it was like 3 different guys, and then like I said, I filled in a couple weekends here and there, and even though he probably doesn't want me telling that, I did. Hey, Bama boy, fuck you! I was the guy. Ha ha. And
I don't even know what that means, but that sounds funny.
There was some heat like 2 weeks ago with this guy for Bama boy, and I was like, he asked me to fill in for a night, and I put a picture up that somebody sent me, and that somebody sent in, and you would not believe how many submissions that guy gets, like 50 a day on that fucking tape. This guy Bama boy from Alabama, obviously.
Is he a wrestler?
He's a skinny little asshole that sucks, and he and like nobody's really defending him but him and his wife, and everybody's like they're going on with. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much shit. I tell the guy all the time. I'm like, dude, I don't understand how this does not wrap up your life, because I mean I've talked to the guy on and off, or pretty much solidly for 2 years now, and it's like, and finally he I'm the one that told him, I was like, dude, get to the point where, like, look, turn the heat against you. This, he was almost to the point of giving it up and just saying, here Luke, take it. But and he was like he's like, I was like, no dude, turn the heat, man. Hey, embrace it. I know that you've got a house. I know where you live. I know that you're married. I know that you got 3 kids. I know that you were a legitimate guy in wrestling, and I know you were trained by legitimate guys. So if somebody wants to say you're living in your mom's basement, who the fuck cares? Hey, if they want to say you're sitting around whacking off, eating Cheetos, watching CM Punk videos, who cares? Throw that out already. And that's the thing about heat, and I was like, but the main thing you got to do is take yourself out of the equation. I told him, I was like, look, get rid of your personal page, because he had like a trash bag wrestler Johnny trash bag page. I was like, get rid of that. Don't, because now it's starting. It's too much about you, because people, like, they get mad and they go, well, they're turning the heat on you. Don't let them turn the heat on you. The first thing people want to do is, as soon as somebody gets mad, they're like, well, the guy running this page is a fucking nobody, Mark from eating Cheetos in his mom's basement, whacking off to CM Punk videos. Okay, so what? I've always said, if you know what you got, if I've been put up there, and every time, thank the guy. He's like, he'll send me the picture, and he'll be like, "Hey, you care if I put this up? It's pretty funny." I got put up once in a promo picture from 2001, and my tricep was big as shit, and I looked all badass. And it was, I mean, I'm nowhere near a wrestling ring, and I mean, I had 100 comments or more, and it was all like, girls marking out to me, and guys, guys I knew in the business and knew online were, giving me shit, and it's funny. It was good times.
A lot of
And
people don't view it that way.
well, a lot of people are fucking pussies that need to get out of the business. Everything's a rib, and he has said this, and I have said this, and me and him have talked about this. It's a fucking rib. People go, this page is a fucking joke. Duh! The page is a fucking joke. Whoa, you caught us. But anyway, Trash Bag Wrestler has been doing a job. He listened to the podcast. He was talking to me. He's like, the flea market, I put their stuff up, and I like working with the flea market. And he goes, I really like Vito in the rotation, the Vito Tomaselli and Mike Brooks, CM Punk's brother, and them. They do a podcast, and I listen to it all the time too. It's a good show. And then he listened to my podcast, or our podcast, this podcast, and he liked it. So he's been putting it up, and I really like to put him over for that, and I appreciate it. And
How do we know, listening to you, that it wasn't just you on the weekend that that you put yourself up, and it was actually this other guy?
Oh, who knows? I don't care. Yeah, I mean, and there's actually another guy in the mix that I won't bring up his name. That's a quality worker. So we brought another guy in.
Well, okay. Well, since you're telling, and we've never really talked about this, and I don't, you know that I don't like the page, and
I don't like the page. I don't.
Well, but the thing that pissed me off is I've been accused of it several times, and people still think that I'm the trash bag wrestler. But I do, from my own, maybe you can allude to this, but when I've actually had to, people like Nick Taylor and I have been on the phone, and he's been mad at me about being trash bag wrestler, and Nick is a tremendous, he's a very good worker, and he's very entertaining.
Yes.
And then Josh Turner, the guy that's doing the bacon gimmick, one day, him and Insane Lane were like, we know it's you, and James Simonelli and Tim Webb and Brian Cage or somebody who I don't even know who that is, and two guys that I was helping train, and they both quit. So I don't know why I would pal around with them guys and put down guys that could finish training wrestling. But anyway,
I will say this: he is not anywhere near the east side of America.
I was going to say, what I was going to ask you just now, because everybody around Tennessee, God bless their little pea-picking hearts here, everybody thought it was somebody from East Tennessee. And I'm like, the world does not revolve around East Tennessee, guys. I'm sorry. And my whole point was, and I just want you don't have to tell me who it is or anything. I'm not asking you to do that. But, I said, it's like, I'm glad we're doing this. We didn't talk about doing this, but I wanted to put this out here. If you want to figure out who it is, and who really is behind it, and Luke has said that he's helped from time to time, and he's a part-time guy on it when the guy needed some time off or whatever. But the guy who's really behind it's like the movie Silence of the Lambs. If you go back, and we're trying to find out where Buffalo Bill is, you go back to the first person that was murdered, and
Yep. Which you'll never find, because the old page got shut down because they talk shit about this guy. Yep.
But I know that page existed for months without one East Tennessee wrestler.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The first one, I think, was Shane Daniels.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what got people to think.
Well,
that
that
when
I
think, because I think Tim Webb and Shane don't like each other.
Well, what got me actually to the page was when Shane was put up.
And then I want to say, if I was in charge of the damn thing, AJ Gann, I could not have resisted not putting AJ Gann up within the first week, and Terry Lindell. And AJ Gann, evaded that page for a long time. I don't even know how long the damn thing's been up, but I don't know, years now, I guess. But AJ Gann was never. So I always have told people, this thing is not East Tennessee.
No.
And it's not somebody like Tim Webb or James Simonelli, because the guy is smart to the business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you talk to James and you talk to Tim, and if they hear this, and I apologize, 'cause I think they're both okay guys, but neither one of them really could finish training school because they physically couldn't do it, and now they're being booked as wrestlers at places. It kind of baffles me, but
Oh,
they're still not 100% smart to the business, if that makes any
yeah.
sense. They're like there's like if you go back and look at Alex McMahon, which we call Fat Hardy, or Jeff, what I don't know what
Meth Hardly.
Meth Hardly. Yeah, I mean, you see Tim Webb going, "Oh, you man, you've got all the moves. You're great. All you got to do is this." Anybody can see this kid's not good.
Right.
So, but these two guys are nice guys, but they're not smart enough to be. And I don't mean smart like intelligence. I think they're both intelligent human beings. I mean smart to the business. They're not smart enough to the business to be. So I always knew it was somebody who was not from here. And no offense, but all the grammar and punctuation has always been correct.
Yep.
And then they're smart to the business, so they couldn't be like a half-ass guy.
I'll tell you some things that I've learned, and again, he's not going to care. I've just got a message from him now, and he's not going to care about if I reveal some information, because these are things that he's actually said before on the old page and stuff like that to kind of give it away. And again, the page is not about him; it's about the fucking assholes not wearing a ring, or it's about the guys. A lot of the guys are put in. There's a lot of self-submissions. There's a lot of guys, hey, this is my buddy, give him shit. I mean, I'd say 50% of the submissions on there are, hey, this is my buddy, give him some shit. It's a roast. But what else? But the things that we do know about who it is from, just from talking and stuff is, first, he's on the Mountain Time Zone. He is... I would say, personally, just to know him, he's on the level of the guys that run the flea market.
Okay,
you could watch.
You've told me who the flea market is. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's not a huge secret, but I'm not gonna say it. You guys can do like 3 seconds of research and figure out who one of them is. But he's on that level. He's a guy that's been around the business, an entertaining guy, and he's also been in the Army. He's a veteran, and I will say something that nobody knows about him, and I don't know if fuck it, I'll say it. He's got cancer, and he's not going to live much longer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no! Well, now this whole show's taking a weird turn now.
But I mean, said
I bet with that announcement, 500 people who will listen to this podcast who's been on the Trash Bag Wrestler website was like, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that shows you how gross we are as a society. I've been on the damn thing. I've told you I've been on the damn thing before at least 3 times. And
I put you up once.
You bastard. Which one was it?
I don't remember. It was it was one where I'm sure it was putting you over, because usually I'm not a mean guy, and I'm more about ribs and joking around, and when I go in there, I'll leaf through the submissions, and I'll be like, I'm the one that takes all the ones that are, hey, this guy put him over, hey, this guy, this is my buddy, put him over, and like I said, I've only really done it like maybe said a total of 2 to 3 weeks. If you add up all the time I've done it. But
was it the one where I was with Billy?
Yes.
With the pink hat and the
yes, that was the picture.
Or was it the one where I was rolled up into a ball?
No, but he asked me about the one because he now knows a lot of us just from knowing me and the submissions and stuff. But like he'll tell me, because he'll activate me on the account as an admin for, like, he's like, hey, I need you, and then he'll activate me for a couple days, and I'll look around it and see what's going on. Then he'll when he's back, he's like, all right, I'm gonna deactivate you. So, but a lot of times he will send me pictures like, hey, this is your guy Funkmaster, or hey, a lot. I mean, he is actually very very cordial about and that's why he always says he doesn't want to do any research because he doesn't want to be biased. Well, he's biased towards a lot of us. If he sees a picture of Brad Cash or Shane Daniels or Jason Max or me or you, he will say, hey, what do you guys think? Or he'll what do you think? Should I put this up? And me, I'll always be like, yeah, it's a good rib on Brad. And because me, I was like, I don't care if you put me up. I mean, there's very few pictures of me without gear. I mean, yeah, I had to wear them fucking AJ Lee boots for 6 months because
those were sexy. Those were the ones those were like, they had 4-inch Heels on the back, right? Those girl boots with the hearts on them. Anyway, and the thing is too, like one time I put up there, I kept just putting up all of my businesses, all of my website links and stuff,
Because that's how you respond, man.
and then
That's how.
my website views, like, I can't even tell you. I don't even know with a word, but it was, I went from about 100 a day. I'm sorry, I don't have that many. I went from about 25-ish web views a day on my website, and it shot up to about 300 or 400 that day. So I appreciate it.
Well, and I will tell you that's how you react. If you want to get mad about it, you don't belong in the business, because a pro will say, "Okay, yeah, that was a street fight. I've got gear. Go ahead, guys, give it to me." I keep telling the guy to put William Lawrence Hamilton up in his dress just because I find that the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Is that B-Dawg?
Yeah, B-Dawg. And
And what? He's wearing a dress, you said?
yeah, he's wearing a maid's dress and he's got gold, painted gold shoes on, and it's funny, because I know Big Dog, and Big Dog knows Big Dog, and Dog knows that he's got gear. So what are you going to say about him? Oh, you look like Shelton Benjamin. No, he looks like Butch Reed. Okay,
Butch Reed was awesome.
I love Butch Reed.
Well, we're in an hour and 10 minutes, and I know we don't want to blow it up too much longer, but do you have anything else to recap? I mean, this is
going to go up on Trash Bag Wrestlers. He's put us in the rotation, and again, he's also looking. And this is actually kind of my idea, and we were talking, and he put a thing up about a month ago, like, hey, if you've got an entertaining podcast or something, a video cast that you want on Trash Bag Wrestlers, submit it, and he'll put it up. He's like, but he said, he goes, you're the only one that submitted a podcast. And other people aren't willing to put themselves out there. Hey, we'll put ourselves out there because we know we're fairly entertaining. That we have yet to have anybody say of the hundreds of people that listen, of the people that came in just to see that last worst match ever one. That's thousands of views and shit, and everybody said, man, that was fucking entertaining. Now this one has been a little darker and it hasn't been as funny. We're not telling Lou Vudo stories. But we're funny guys, and we're interesting guys, and we're guys you don't have to listen to, but you should. So if you want to put yourself out there, the Offshoots is a great network.
It will help us out.
Yeah,
with our egos.
Put yourself fucking out there. I mean, people know who me and you are all across America because we do silly fucking shit. We talk, we promote the hell out of ourselves. Yep. And we promote the hell out of any. How many times have I promoted Saw this year? Have we talked about Saw? You know what I don't do at Saw?
Talk about yourself.
I don't wrestle.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to get 400 people into Fort Craig, and I don't wrestle there.
Well, I think that the whole thing is the law of celebrity. It's all about. It's so funny. Wrestlers are so goofy to me sometimes. Yeah. And, I remember me and Tommy Henry used to go back and forth quite a bit back when I had the energy to care. And, he was like, you're just a mark, man. All the stuff you put about yourself and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm promoting myself, goofball. I'm promoting. He's like, you're a belt mark and you're this. I wanted to tell you this, too. This is going to be my last contribution to this week's podcast, but I wanted to ask you a question, and because I had an answer, because this is something I thought was interesting, and I'll ask you, and then I'll give mine. But what is the one thing that is different about the business, or as soon as you got into it, your misconception was almost revealed? Like, was there anything that you thought, wow, this will be great to be a wrestler because of this, or I expect wrestlers to be like this, I expect wrestling to be like this, and as soon as you got into it, what was the one thing that was like, oh my God, I was incorrect?
There was a few things. I thought that, the same thing with music. If you were a teenager and you got into playing music, and I started when I was 9 playing acoustic guitar, but if you get into something and thinking there's going to be pussy everywhere, like especially like a guitar playing at a teenager, you should be getting pussy everywhere. I got I'd go out to the Riverwalk in Naperville and strum a few chords on the guitar, and I get laid. But wrestling, I thought there was going to be a lot more chicks around, and in the '90s there were. Now there's none. I mean, in the '90s, you could go to the Rat's house and oh, we're in Kenosha. Okay, I need a place to stay. Okay, we'll call Moo. Who should I call, Moo or Oink? I'm gonna. And shout out to Moo and Oink. You guys are good girls. You guys, you girls were good girls. But I don't know where you're at now. But
I think they were slaughtered.
But there was, and even then, we made fun of them and called them Moo and Oink, but they were both fairly attractive girls. There was girls everywhere. You'd go into Shaboom's, which was Sonny's Club, after a WWE show. The WWE wrestlers were there, or even after Windy City shows or PCW shows, and there'd be really, really hot girls waiting around for you. And now there's no hanging out after the shows. What I think I thought was going to be there's going to be, everybody talks about the brotherhood. There's no brotherhood.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be this huge brotherhood in wrestling that we're all buddies. What it turns out to is everybody's just protecting their spot. And people don't know their place in the business. Like I'd go in and I'd be like, well, I'm sorry, your champion's, 5'10", 160 pounds. You want me to job to him? No. I thought, there's no reason he should be your heavyweight champion because he doesn't even meet the heavyweight qualifications. I thought there would be more common sense. I thought there would be more brotherhood. I thought there would be more intelligence to it. But what I quickly learned was it was a bunch of small guys trying to put themselves over. And you had some back then. You had some great big workers. You had Dice Man Ronnie Vegas, Iron Mike Sharp, Mike Sampson, even Adam Pearce and Chris Daniels came around, and they were fairly big guys. And coming into business, and they call CM Punk small, but he wasn't a small guy. He was he was 6'1", 6'2". That's and. You had some really, you had Brandon Bishop and Rick Knight and all these guys, and Jimmy Blaze was one of the smaller guys, and now he's the monster. And but there's all these, little guys that think they're 90 feet tall, and, they forget. Okay, this is something that's bothered me forever in wrestling. Okay, just because you're a tough guy in wrestling, you're not a fucking tough guy. Okay, if you're 5'10" or under, or you're, and you're a fat guy, or, just, I've been in the business for 10 years. And if I'm yelling at you from a wrestling ring, you should be scared of me. Okay? Because if we're now behind the school and you come up to me with that shit and I yell at you and you're not scared of me, you're going to be. Okay? If somebody, like, let's say, all right, I'm just going to make up names here. Don't anybody take offense to this. If Cody Rhodes is in the ring with Ox Harley, Cody Rhodes, and he's actually one of the better ones at playing the cowardly heel, better be scared off his ass, not just standing there like, oh, I got you. If you have to be scared of people that are bigger than you, it's the natural progression of life. Or you got to be a guy like Vinny or you, or Christian Lotus, who makes your personality so strong that it's believable. You beat me how many times last year? Because it was believable because your personality.
About 65.
Yeah.
65-1. Well, the thing that is totally different from what I thought it was going to be was I kind of always thought it would be cool to have a belt.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And I think that's the biggest shock. And still, I'll talk to people who are somewhat smart, and they're like, well, congratulations, you won this. And they're like, telling you, like, wow, congratulations. And I'm like, this is something I have to keep up with. It's something I can't leave at home and forget, or it's just a pain in the ass. And then I want to have fun, and I want to. When you have a belt, that changes the psychology of what you can do, and it limits you really to what you can do. So it kind of hurts your match. And then if you have a heavyweight championship, then you're like, all of a sudden, it's like, well, if we don't draw next month, it's probably my fault because I had a shitty match. So there's all sorts of things that go into that you just don't think about. Because when I was into it, when I was a kid or whatever, I was like, this will be great.
How funny was it? They put the belt on me. And I'm not going to mention anything. They put the belt on me, and like the next show, I was like, "Get this fucking belt off me!"
Oh, that's how. People probably won't believe this because I have a custom Ego Pro Heavyweight Championship, but I had a 3-day conversation with Barry where I begged him not to put the belt on me, and it got me tons of heat in the back because I wasn't one of the Ego Pro boys, and they were like, all that guy does is roll up into a ball. And that was back when
The Johnny Saint special is so fucking pretty, though. I love that move. It's so funny.
Well, that's not all I do either, I mean, I do it like once every 10. I do it once every 10 matches or something, but it's just funny.
I'll tell you two really quick little scenarios that happened last year that I mean are totally out of the realm of what people consider with wrestling. Sort of, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but there was one time that me and you are going into a main event, having a main event match, and I'm looking around the locker room as everybody's just blah 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 blah, and you're just kind of standing over the corner petting your mink coat. And I felt, and we're on in like 15 minutes, and I fell asleep. People with the nerves. Oh my God, I got a match. I got the nerves. Dude, get the nerves out of your face. This is something you should enjoy. I fell asleep. You're petting a fur coat. It's
very soothing.
Or one of my favorite things, and this has happened quite a bit with the. All right, Luke, your music's on. Where's your belt? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot the belt. Yeah. Where I didn't forget it anywhere. It's like it's in a box and you got to pick it up and bring it out. But it's like, I mean, sure, I try to put belts over. That's my big thing. And if somebody gives me a belt, I'm not trying to put Luke over. I'm not trying to put Vinny over. I'm trying to put the belt over because the belt should be the most important thing in the world. That should be something you are fighting for. But as soon as you get to, but it's one of those things where it's just like, oh yeah, I usually come out with my hammer. How am I going to carry the fucking hammer and the belt at the same? Oh, this is stupid. Hey, get this belt off me.
When can I lose this belt? Yeah, well, anytime somebody has given me a belt, I appreciate it. But there's always, if it's a smart booker, there's business behind it, and there's a reason. It's not just.
Yeah, you don't put the belt on somebody just to put it out. You don't put it on your buddy. And if you're a promoter, you never fucking put the belt on yourself.
Well, but I mean, that's true. But in this business nowadays, the last 10 years or so, I mean, you put the belt on yourself because you never know if your champion's going to show up.
There's one promoter, I think, or not even a promoter, but a booker that has the belt on him that I think should have on him because I would put it on him. And that's about the only person I know that has a belt that I think and I'm not going to say names because that's kayfabe. But he's the only person I think should have a belt on him. Should I think his angle should be going differently? Yes. Would I give him the belt if I was the booker? Yes. That's how I look at it. If I walk in a locker room and this jabron is the champion and the booker, and I'm like, I look at the crowd, the locker room, I'm like, what is that doing for the company? Why would he? I'd put the belt on that guy, and that guy before this guy. Oh, he's the promoter. But he said sometimes a booker, sometimes the booker is the best heat getter, and if he knows, and he will ask people around him, hey, should I have the belt? Yeah, I'll give you the belt. But I've been in way too many places. There was this fucking asshole named Kirby Duck, but I'm not going to mention that name anymore because I'm going to call him by his shoot name, Big Time. It was his name, Big Time, and he put on a show, and it was a good show. It was in Milwaukee. He put me in the main event. Thank God. God bless him. He saw something in me that other guys at the time either didn't or they saw it and they wanted to bury. But he constantly at his shows had the belt, and he's 5'6", and. Then the show we worked in Milwaukee, which was fucking hilarious because, it was a place where Dahmer picked up some of his dates. And it's a big arena, and there's, 400 people there, and there's a lot of heat. And it was the closest to an actual hardcore match I've ever been in. Me and the guy I was wrestling both separated our shoulders, taking spike DDTs from a guy that did a run-in. And I had a outline of a chair on my back and, said it's close. But, and it was a good show, but there was 7 matches, and he was involved in 5 of them.
Yeah, well, that's a way to ruin your pop too. You get people, the crowd will get sick of you.
And again, hey, WWE's Justin Roberts was the ring announcement, but um, but there's also a guy on the show that was a good friend of mine, Robbie Dauber, who apparently actually made it big under a different name, or sort of big. He was like, he turned down he was in Ohio Valley when Ohio Valley was Ohio Valley, and he turned down a contract to work for the more, to go further up in the WWE ranks to be a weatherman in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
I just found this out recently. I'm like, holy shit, the guy actually made it. Sometimes, you don't make it to where you think you're going to make it, but, you know,
That's got to be an easy job.
yeah,
Today, 85 degrees and sand.
probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's throw out some plugs here at the end. Brian, what's his name? Brian Zane Scheidel for Wrestling with Regret. He puts on a really cool, he puts a lot of production into his show. It's Wrestling with Regret, spelled all with W's. He's a funny guy. His show's really good. He's also on the Trash Bag Wrestling Network. The guys at the flea market are riot. Go like all those guys.
The world famous flea market.
World famous flea market. Go like those guys. And the big one is Funkmaster V's Uptown Cabs Renown down in Sevier County. Don't drive drunk, ride with the funk.
And Southern Bell, Bell Bonds, and that's East Tennessee Bell agent. You should always call.
And I'm sure we're going to do another podcast before the Severe Attitude Wrestling show, but get to this show. I mean, we say great wrestling doesn't draw, but I think you need to see this show. I mean, the matchups are phenomenal. Travis Sawyer fighting Shane Daniels. I think, that's hot. You've got a gauntlet match to take on Dante HP, and Dante HP really proven himself as a singles wrestler, half a high risk impact. And there's, the Cadillac Cowboy versus Hairband is the main event, and Cadillac Cowboy, Hairband is really come a long way since he's been wrestling with Caddy. He's stepped up 10 levels.
Yeah, and he's in this East Tennessee wrestling tournament. He's the fourth seed in their tournament, trying to go for that championship out there in Lenore City. And then that's a hair versus hair too. So that's.
And we did give some shit about the Sabu draw, but I heard it was a good show. I'd like to put that over. And Ego had a show last weekend, and I heard that went really well. So congratulations to Ego and FTW on great shows over the weekend.
Yeah, and I'm wrestling Mick O'Malley at that Saw show, which
is going to be entertaining as hell.
Yeah, well, he, if you go to YouTube and watch, what was it called, Third World Wall Commentary, that's the match where you kind of screwed me out of the belt because you were filming me and asking me interview questions while I was in chokeholds, and as 5 men beat the crap out of me. I appreciate that.
Hey, I do what I can. Hey, I had a contract to do commentary. No, but I got to tell you, in this day and age, with us being older and everything, if somebody out there took me, you, Caddy, Mick O'Malley, and just said, "All right, guys, you've got 6 straight shows. Do what you want," I guarantee you, it'd be the most entertaining shit you've ever seen in your life.
Well, if it wasn't the most entertaining shit, it would be damn close.
Damn close.
Hey, speaking of damn close.
Whoa!
This hammer is about 2 feet from my Babalones. Easy.
Whoa! Hey, what are you doing with my gimmick?
Well, we've done an hour and a half, man.
All right, and
it's the longest, most rambling. We've covered so many fucking bases. If you're here at the end, congratulations. You are now the East Tennessee YouTube champion.
Hey guys, respect the business. Know your role. Shut your mouth. Boots to asses, jabronis.
Measure your leg.
Oh,
well, that's a Bo James reference. Measure your leg, and for the love of God, are we ever going to see Clarice topless again?
No.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
I really want this to happen.